I would now like to invite on stage Mr. Sachin Jain, Engagement Manager and SAP Practice Head with Mawai Infotech Limited. Mr. Jain has an experience of 16 plus years in dealing with clients across geographies with major focus on Malaysia, China, US, Canada, France, and India. He has held roles as founder and project manager with responsibility for the project analytics, performance reviews for the project client deliverables, training client users, and licensing with cross functional teams to avoid in providing maintenance and support. Today, he is going to share something very interesting as well as useful to one and all. The stage is all yours, Mr. G.
Good morning, all. Am I audible at the back? So I thank all my esteemed panelists for sharing their insights, and I think the placement of the discussion that I want to do is very well suited with the very important points that they have already raised. So we'll restart. The important points, that we were discussing, right? A lot of the discussion that our panelists had was focusing on what kind of role the technology plays and how we can leverage the tech availability and the recent changes in the tech environment to make our systems more efficient. And I think that is the topic that we want to discuss today. So, a brief introduction about our company. So, I represent Mawai Infotech. We are into ERP consulting, which is mainly across SAP ERP. And SAP you might be knowing as SAP S4HANA, SAP ECC, or different other names that you would have seen in your companies. So from the size perspective, we have 250 odd consultants that are working with us. And with God's grace, we have been fortunate enough to work across different verticals like automotive, manufacturing, FMCG, plastic molding, pharmaceuticals, professional services, so on and so forth. Next slide. Based on the deliveries that we have done, we have been fortunate to get awarded by SAP multiple times, and these are the awards that we have received specifically for our operational excellence and our deliveries across the automobile sector. We are awarded 2016 SAP Partner of the Year. Then we are awarded in 2018, that was for ASK Automotives. Then for Napino Auto in 2019. And then in 2020 for Roop Polymers. And then in 2022, we won the Public Cloud Champion Award. These are the places where we are able to serve people. And yes, we have our India offices here in Pune also, and our head office is based out of Noida, which is catering to all the locations in Delhi NCR, Manesar, and Gurgaon all. And then we have an office in Chandigarh, and we have an office in Bangalore, which is just coming up. I feel very proud of being part of this particular ecosystem. So the clients that we serve, we are able to say that we are present in almost all the components of the car that gets manufactured at any OEM, because we have our customers across these many parts of the cars that go into seats, doors, sheet metal, electronics, roof lining, plastic molding, alloys, brakes, motors, and everything. And yes, we have forayed into customers who are doing work in EVs and batteries also. A very proud moment for me to showcase a few names that we work with. And now coming back to the topic that we have on hand is about manufacturing excellence. And while our esteemed panel was discussing, right, these are the three main areas which come to my mind when I talk about automotive manufacturing excellence. First is efficiencies. And when we talk about efficiencies, the efficiencies become twofold. One is production efficiency, one is cost efficiency. Then we have quality controls. Our panel talked about how we have to maintain the quality but not at the cost, of making the product bad. And we have to, take out more efficiencies out of it. And then adaptability. And I think there were very good examples that we have had in terms of the disruptions in supply chain, disruptions due to chip shortages, how fast we can adapt. And these are the three main areas that, trouble all of us. On a softer side, on a people side, teams working in silos is the major lacuna that happens, that actually hurts all the processes, all the things that we try and do. Because the teams within our organizations are working in their own silos, we are able to, we have communication gaps which lead to misunderstandings, which lead to things not being clear, and many times which lead to drastic negative impacts like failures even in compliances. Now I just, want to go into the details, into the depth of how we can use our technology, how we can leverage the ERP that we have, or the services across ERP that we have. And imagine a world, imagine a situation wherein we are able to solve these problems. These are the problems that we were able to identify based on our experience, based on our discussions that we have had with all our customers that we were serving. Coordination issues between OEMs and the suppliers, delays in production, supply chain inefficiencies, quality control challenges, compliance misses, manual entry mistakes, recurring and mundane tasks. Many a times people retention, and a question came in, how do I motivate people? I think not only about motivating the people, but also looking at what are the things that they are doing. Are those tasks mundane? Are they really required to do those tasks is also very important. And all these, solving these problems looks like a fiction, looks like a fairy tale. If I were able to solve all these problems, I would be on the peak of my abilities and peak of the organizational capabilities. But to a certain extent, we can we can shift these fictional items from fiction to fact. We can focus on lean manufacturing, we can focus on Kaizen initiatives, digitization and automations, traceability solutions, shop floor to top floor integration, and compliance automations. I'll just take a minute each in explaining what do we mean by that and how we can leverage the technology available with us in order to solve these problems. First, we talked about lean manufacturing. We are all here from the manufacturing industry. And when we talk about manufacturing as a core, these are the areas that we try and focus on, which is TPM, just in time, value stream mapping. How I can manage all these things? The answer is we have a piece of technology available. We have the solutions available which can help you in achieving this. We have all talked about MRPs, material requirement planning, and in our boardrooms, in our discussions on our shop floors, MRP is a term that we use very loosely. How we can move from MRP to detailed scheduling. That is what becomes important. I'm just giving an example. And while I was trying to give an example, I wanted to keep it very simple and still related to the vehicular industry. So I've taken an example of a bicycle. So if I take an example of the bicycle, as you can see, we're talking about a bicycle made up of frame, two wheels, and a chain ring. Can my ERP help me in achieving production planning by putting up a scheduling board, by putting up constraints which can impact the availability of labor, the availability of machine, the capacity of the machine? All those parameters can be brought into the picture and then help me in making a decision in terms of how can I produce the things better? How can I achieve efficiencies in production? In order to explain this a bit more, I'll just explain. We have four different, whenever a new product comes in, whenever a new item comes in, in our industry, because today we are talking about a market which is daily evolving. We have a situation wherein we talk about design. Once we are able to design it, then we want to build it. Once we have built it, we want to deliver it, and then we want to maintain it and regularly improve it. So in all these particular four areas, we have the capabilities like PLM integration, where we talk about a 3D modeling of a new material, a 3D modeling of a new design, and then integrating it with your SAP ERP. In terms of building, we talk about manufacturing systems. We talk about integrating those systems and bringing in that manufacturing information directly into your ERP without any manual intervention. And why this is critical, right? I'll just give you an example. Why MES system or an automation of the manufacturing system is important. We all have rejections, right? We all have losses during our production process. But if I put my hand to my heart and I tell you the reality, in all the shop floors, whether you take any biggest of the OEMs possible or the smallest supplier possible, will the reporting of the scrap, will the reporting of the NG parts would actually be accurate in the system? I'm sure we all know the answer. And that is where automation across manufacturing becomes important. The truth that we report to the system helps us in making the better decisions for future. And that is where automation helps us in making more informed strategic decisions. Then when we talk about delivery, then we have transportation management and all the transport tracking systems. And then when we talk about operations, then we have maintenance and all the applications related to the maintenance of it. Now we talk about digitization and automation, right? Earlier we talked about how we can focus on our internal processes, how we can integrate them with the ERP and make them better. Now we talk about digitization, automation, because Industry 4.0, Industry 5.0 are the buzzwords that we all hear on a daily basis. Here, as you know, my panel was talking about, we have to engage our stakeholders. The discussion is no longer about engaging your customers. The discussion is no longer about engaging your vendors only. It is also about engaging your own employees also. What are the automations that we can look at? Automations that we all talk about range from artificial intelligence, machine learning, automated robotic process automations, bots, plant integrations, and different type of external environment integrations like vendor portals, like the government portals, and so on and so forth. All these integrations make our life easier, and that is where a lot of change management has to come from the people sitting in this room, because we have to open our minds and accept that change. Earlier, my environment used to be limited to my utilization only. Whatever I was doing in my system was relevant only for me, my management, my MIS, my internal reporting. But with the advent of a very common example or a simple example that I can take, GST reporting. As soon as the GST e-invoice e-way bill came in, whatever data I was saving in the system was no longer very specifically remained for me only. It has to be shared with the government. Government is sharing that with your customers. Those customers are doing the reconciliation, looking at the data submitted by you. So all these particular informations now need to be looked at. A change management has to happen in our minds that yes, my system has to look at what kind of sharing of the data or what kind of openness in the system is required now. I'll just share one small video presentation just to showcase how SAP as an ERP is focusing on bringing in artificial intelligence right there in your core ERP.
AI can paint your cat in the style of Van Gogh. Pretty cool, right? But what about AI that does something useful, like pinging you about a supply shortage before it even happens?
Got it.
Or identifying a defective squeaky toy just by taking a picture of it?
That one was fine.
AI that makes your business stronger, helps you make decisions faster, and makes your people even better. Revolutionary technology, real-world results. That's SAP Business AI.
So, as we can see, AI is changing the way we look at the normal operations. And now the second point, which I just want to highlight and showcase, is about traceability. We talked about supply chain efficiencies, right? In supply chain efficiency, we're talking about we need to be smart. We need to do the things on automation. We need to do the things in more easier manner. This is an example that I'm just showcasing how we can automate our internal processes just by using a basic barcode based traceability. And specifically for OEMs, this kind of traceability becomes very important. And rather, for our automobile industry per se, as an example, we and pharmaceutical as the second player in it are the best examples or the best people in the world to highlight the need of traceability, right? And now, small video just to showcase when we talk about shop floor and top floor, there is always a gap. What shop floor, the people who are working actually on the machines, they have as the information, it actually gets modified, gets manipulated for the lack of better word, and it gets sanitized before reaching the top management. How do we ensure that whatever is happening on the top floor is what is available, visible, and right time, real time basis to make the better decisions? Just an example of how we have enabled the visibility of shop floor to the top floor. So as you can see here, the diagrams, the graphics, the exact production, the exact happenings on the on the shop floor are visible in a war room kind of a situation, are visible to the plant head, are visible to the management, and there is no hiding the facts then. There is no one who can modify the data, who can sanitize or manipulate the data. And this will enable a lot of important decision making, a lot of faster strategic decisions, and hence lead us to more efficiencies. And very importantly, it saves you a lot of time also, because a lot of the time I spend energy in asking for a data set which some people run from pillar to post, from one table to another, in getting that particular data set. Now this is available right there on a digital display board. So we have covered what we can do internally for our own processes, how we can bring in more efficiencies across our processes, but we cannot discount how our compliance related automations have to go in. And when I talk about compliances, right, there's again a mindset gap that we have. When we talk about compliances, only the government related compliance comes in, right? We always talk about automations regarding e-way bills, e-invoices, GSTs, TDS, and all those things. Last point, but not the least point, in automobile industry, it's our duty to now start looking at what my carbon footprint is, what my green percentage is. So SAP has a particular solution known as SAP EHS, which specifically focus on that particular area, and that how much carbon footprint you have reduced, what is your CO2 emissions, and all those things. I think that it is right time, it is the high time that we start looking at it, right? So what I want to do, I don't want to leave you with the queries that I've given. Rather, I want to leave you with an aspiration. This is the aspiration that I want everyone to have while going back and while going again to the office tomorrow or on Monday. So imagine, right? Can we imagine if we can deliver mobile services that provide personalized experiences and increase productivity, delivering new value to drivers and passengers? They are the ultimate consumers of the product that we create. Imagine if you could create a factory of future where humans and robots learn from each other, collaborate optimally, safely, and help in performing more complicated tasks. Imagine if you could digitize and optimize your supply chain, improving efficiencies, awareness, decision making, and agility. And last, if you can seamlessly be a part of an ecosystem, the touch point of your customers' lifestyles, right? Where innovative products and services are given to the customers as an industry. So I leave you with these 4 points, and if you have any queries, I'll be happy to answer. No queries? Thank you.
Thank you, Sachin. We also have the stalls outside for Mawai Steer Advisors and Godrej Karbar. Please do network and visit the stalls during our networking break. Uh,
We need to felicitate Mr. Sachin Jain, and I would request you to felicitate Mr. Sachin Jain. Please. Can we have a round of applause for Sachin? And I think a lot of people don't know each other.
Yeah.
So that activity which you suggested, please.
so I would request all of you all to stand up. So yeah, yes, I'm a teacher. I also teach Bharatnatyam and I run an institute parallelly. So walk up to a new face, a new person, and please exchange greetings and get to know each other. So we'll have a minute. So please, you're not from your own team, someone very new. थोड़ा दूर भी जा सकते हैं, जरूरी नहीं है.